we are excited to welcome all of you to today's Listening and Learning presentation, which is a series of events where we highlight the skills, the talents, and the stories of HBN and its alums. And today's session is very special to us because it is being presented in partnership with the Upper School Division, and it is the first of our Alumni Weekend events and celebrations. So our audience includes both upper school students and alums from across the country. So I'm now going to turn it over to Jamie Morse, who is our upper school visual arts teacher and who is the co-chair of our Fellowships for Creative Arts. And take it away, Mr. Morse.
Thank you very much, Ms. Capers. Welcome everybody, and a special welcome to all the alums who are watching today. It's great to have you here. Well before Katherine and Mariel were snapping photos of concerts, events, and celebrities such as Sting, Whoopi Goldberg, Lady Gaga. They were upper school students fully engaged in Blazer sports and visual arts. It moves me deeply to know that this all began right in this very room that I'm sitting in, which is the photo lab. It gives me great pride that you guys have come so far. Following sports injuries for Katherine, they were full ride acceptance for both sisters into Ohio University's Scripps School of Visual Communications. They decided to focus on art. They studied commercial photography and interned at Elle Magazine, Teen Vogue, and BET. After graduation, Katherine worked at iHeartRadio and eventually became a national photo director. Mariel assisted Swiss photographer Raymond Meyer. And after freelancing for both Getty and the NBA, she became senior photo editor for Elle.com. She also recently earned her master's degree in accessory design from SCAD. In 2019, the sisters began their photography business together, which I think is so great because my memory of both of you is always being together. We are honored to hear from you both today. And thanks for coming. I give you Mariel and Katherine Tyler.
Thanks,
Mr. Morse.
That was so nice to hear you say all those nice things.
Yeah, it's been a while since.
And I love that you're in the photo room.
Yeah, that's since we've seen that room. I think I'm going to switch and just do a screen share. So just give me a second. I think we'll do it like this. Can you guys see my screen? Maybe? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no words in this presentation. It's just us talking through our photos. I'm Katherine. This is Mariel. So I was at iHeart for 7 years. Like Mr. Moore said, I left in 2019, just in time for the pandemic, to go out on our own. Mariel was in grad school and she graduated in 2020. So I just started shooting a lot of shows since I was already heavily in the music world. And in New York, we live in New York, and New York's a great space for that because they have Madison Square Garden and Barclays Center. So there's concerts happening all the time. So it was a pretty easy shift from going from my full-time desk job into the concert world. So these are just shots that Mariel, I don't know, honestly, we don't know who took what.
It's a problem we have when we're both shooting concerts and things, like we don't know who shot what, but Katherine, I was freelance. So when I first moved to New York, like Mr. Moore said, I assisted a photographer named Raymond Meyer, and he did a lot of like fashion stuff for Vogue, and we did architecture shoots for Condé Nast Traveler. But then I went freelance and just kind of was everywhere because Katherine, since she worked at iHeartRadio, I freelanced with iHeartRadio. I had worked with the NBA. I worked with Getty Images. Mostly doing photo editing. I wasn't shooting as much, but I heard I was shooting when Katherine would hire me. It's a little nepotism.
I heard it all the time. She came on she came on Jingle Ball tour. She was at every music festival that iHeart produced. So it was just easier. My boss loved her. He was like always game for having Mariel on the team of photographers or editors or whatever, because she would do anything and everything that we asked.
Abuse. I think that's what that sounds like.
But you get it. It's easy to work with your sister. So these are just a few shots of like our time at iHeart Jingle Ball tour. It's like you do the same show in like, I don't know, 13 different cities. It happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So yeah.
I did that on my winter break, I think, when I was in school.
And we'd edit for each other.
But her job, you should explain this because this is more on her end, but it's a lot of like managing and stuff. You can talk about that because I know it just looks like we're just like taking pictures everywhere, but that's like half of It's like not even half the
It's
job.
probably like 10% of it.
Yeah.
The majority of my time there was spent like dealing with the budgets and the event production. And that can mean anything from like talking to the venues and making sure that we had enough internet bandwidth to actually send all the photos that we were sending, where the Wi-Fi was good so the photographers could send photos wirelessly, so that everything that you saw happening on stage would also happen on social media. I work really closely with the social media team to make sure that all the images were like processed really quickly. I think you guys probably understand the demand for immediacy more than I do, even, because I'm like, we're not doctors, you'll get it when you get it. But yeah, in the music world and everything, everyone wants to see the professional photos immediately. So that was a big part of my job, and managing the team of editors who make that happen. On the day-to-day, like in the office, I did take a lot of portraits. But on the road, it was a lot of just on your feet, running around venues backstage and making sure everyone had what they needed.
And then when I worked at Elle, it's like it was totally different, because it was not event based. It was just it was kind of like a desk heavy job. It was a lot of editing, managing the site. I was the only photo editor for the website, so it kind of made it hard to. It's hard when you're working with other people who just care about words, kind of. They don't see what you see. So I had 11 editors that I worked with to just make sure the site looked beautiful all the time. And it didn't always just straight mean photos. I worked with a graphic designer, a creative director, to figure out ways to image stories that just was more interesting or more engaging. So it was a lot of just like playing around with graphics and in Photoshop a lot. So I kind of developed a skill set there. And I still work with Elle.com to do treatments for larger stories. This is just one that came up over the pandemic. I think it was released a few months ago. But yeah, it's kind of fun because this is where we kind of like divide and conquer, because I get to be more in like the photographic design kind of world, and she's better with like the managing of the budgets and the thinking of the tech stuff and the, I don't know, all the stuff I don't like to do.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't like to do it either, but I also am not as good as at the graphic design stuff. Like we have to do mood boards for every client that we have, and we'll get to that later. We'll show you a few mood boards, but I like can't figure out how to lay them out. And Mariel's like a Photoshop wizard. I can retouch anything. I can do all that kind of stuff. But in terms of mood boards and graphic design, like she has to do all of that. So do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, that's still for Elle, but I guess before we got to Elle, I said that I freelanced in a lot of different places, because I think it's important to like say that we just like didn't start shooting Whoopi Goldberg. Like I had like so many jobs at one point. I would like wake up and not know where I was supposed to be, because I was like babysitting, working for the NBA, working for Getty, working for iHeartRadio, working for Sports Illustrated. And like, I was at a different place every like day of the week. So I think that, I don't know. You get a big, just a very broad understanding of like
the path.
No, but not necessarily that, like what each job entails. And I did not like all of those jobs, but I definitely got something from all of them. Yeah. And like Getty was really cool because you got to go to all these different events, but you're also like tightly editing in like a closet or something. Yeah. Like if you look up the hashtag,
just
like,
to give you guys an insight as to what Getty Images is, I don't know if you don't know, but it's basically the source of where all like the photos come from, like across like the newspaper.
It's like a mecca for newspaper or for any publishing company.
Yeah, so every publishing company has a Getty reservation, has a Getty subscription, and so Getty is at like every event. They're at the Oscars, they're at
Tony's,
the
Super
Bowl. Yeah, so they cover every political event, sports event, music event, entertainment. They cover everything.
So you edited there too. We both did editing there because it's kind of an easier gig in a way. But
as a freelancer,
I was going to say, if you look up the hashtag #MyGettyOffice on Instagram, you can see just where we end up, because it's like you're just anywhere. And
you're chasing Mariah Carey around for approvals, like in a restaurant, and she like falls asleep on a table or something, and you have to wait until she wakes up for her to be like, no, I don't like any of them, or whatever the case is. Like Getty puts you in places where you never even would imagine that you'd be. It's like it's a very strange job, and I actually find it funny explaining all the random places and situations we've been in because of it. But it's good because you see the process. It's gritty. It's not like a glamorous job by any means. Just because I said Mariah Carey doesn't mean
you get to go to Fashion Week, but you don't see anything. Like you're just glued to your computer basically. And you also work with all the photographers, obviously, who are shooting for Getty. So we got to know the whole Getty team, and that I think has been really important in our careers. Just as we've grown over time, because they're like a second family to us at this point, and we don't even work there anymore. But anyway, we're trying to stay on time. We need to wrap it up.
Okay. So this is a project that Mariel pitched for Elle when she was there, but they didn't pick it up.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, part of my job, every week we would have pitch meetings, so you have to constantly be thinking of like what would be cool on the site. And I covered a few cool events like SneakerCon, or like when Black Panther, the movie came out, and I did a story with my editor on that. But this was something I pitched. It was a hair show in Atlanta that I just never had the time to do. And then when I was in school, I reached out to one of my editors, and she was like, "Oh, totally, like go do it." And so,
because she was in school in Savannah and the hair show was in Atlanta, so it was already in Georgia, and I just flew down to meet her for it. So it was an easy sell. Just because the production was like pretty low budget.
But it was fun because we like shooting normal people,
and these people are obviously not like normal.
Well, I mean,
but like just your everyday people. They're hair enthusiasts, they're barbers, they're makeup artists, and whatever the case is. We went to the Broner Brothers hair show in Atlanta, and we just kind of like, it's a huge convention center just filled with anyone and everyone who's interested in the beauty industry. And we just kind of sat back and watched and grabbed people as we saw them. And we had a little piece of paper set up against a wall with the light and a little curtain so that people didn't feel like they were like
on display.
And we just like, "Excuse me, do you mind coming over here? And like, we're gonna take your picture." It was like really low key and like really low budget, like I said, but it was a 2-day event, and we got so many great, like a variety of so many different types of people and different types of hair. And
it's oddly gotten us a lot of work. Like, I think it's important to like do the things you don't want to do. I mean, I wanted to do this, but I'm just saying it didn't pay well. It didn't get a lot of press initially, but like people saw it. So
this is like one of the most heavily referenced things for clients. Like, "Oh, that thing you guys did with the hair." And we're like, "Oh, that little project that we did like a few years ago in Atlanta." Like every client, like TNT, like TV people always want this light. And it's always hard to replicate because it is. But anyway, we're just going to keep going. So these are the hair photos. These are mood boards. This is more of Mariel's world. But she had to make mood boards. She went to fashion school for graduate school and studied accessory design. So these are just like the ideas and how they manifest themselves in
I mean,
I'm speaking for her.
Yeah,
sorry.
Here she goes.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I just think that with these, you can flip through. I don't know how many there are in here, but it's just important. If you're like a visual person, like I am always thinking of like what would be cool, and like in school, you kind of learn how to apply it a little better, I think. Or not, you don't have to be in school to figure it out, but you just it's just practicing a process. And then this is more of the technical side, like making spec sheets for everything, but
just getting from like the idea in your head of what you like envision, and you don't necessarily know how it's going to create and turn into an actual product. But I think Mariel really like honed in on that. And we set a timer so that we wouldn't keep running our mouths.
But it's something we still do, like, and when we're doing shoots. So it's a good practice, I think, just to like, it's a good exercise.
Just for the idea process.
Yeah. And it doesn't always feel right, but sometimes it like a little bit of it makes sense. And that's kind of all.
And you just need to hold on to whatever you need to make the shoot happen. So these are this is the Whoopi mood board that Mariel made. I help make them, but I don't lay them out. I just pull up photos. And then this is the cover, obviously that came out a few weeks ago. So the goal is always just that we hope that the image can live comfortably on the mood board. And this was the Whoopi feature. This was a mood board we did for a shoot that we had on Tuesday of the first non-binary WNBA player. And they were lovely to shoot. That was a really fun shoot. And the theme was prisms. ESPN gave us just a very vague, they're like, you can do whatever you want. It's very rare that you get that creative freedom just to like go.
Yeah.
And they're like, we just want to do something with prisms. And they stood back on the shoot. They barely said anything. They're just like, yeah, go for it. Oh, these are just funny things of like how we mess up all the time.
No, we don't plan.
We mess up all
it's
the
something
time.
you learn as you go. But like when this was old from iHeart, we were just like, oh, we want like lots of plants. And like, we only had this like small rental car and we went and got all these, it was bad.
The people at Home Depot were like, what are you doing? And we were dragging these plants through a venue, the arena in Miami.
It worked.
These are just like BTS shots of like what you think what you can get. I think one of the main things about being a creative is like how creative can you get in the space and with what you have and what you're given. And a lot of times we're not given a lot. And you can see like, oh, I guess this was a video. I think it's not showing you, but basically the picture of me on the left is taking a picture of J-Lo. I wish she wasn't cropped out because
now it just
she
didn't
have
like you're shooting a wall.
She didn't have pants on, but you can see just the process of like how terrible it could really be. And it's like what is that meme thing? It's like where it's going and how I got there, whatever. It's kind of like that. Cramped in a hallway, and then like this was the actual shot from the hallway. Oh, these are from
this is another shot from country. It's just like wrangling cats.
Yeah, herding cats, and no one pays attention to you. But then here you go, you've got them.
You only need one shot.
Yeah. Well,
for these you might need a few.
Yeah, and you piece the heads on. You know how that works. These are just other portraits that we took at iHeart or, yeah. So, yeah. That's it. I mean, we have a ton of pictures, but we kind of want to hear from you guys because I'm sad we can't see your faces.
Should we stop sharing or?
I don't know.
Oh, Miss Bissell raised her hand.
So yes. So we have Dr. Bissell, please. I don't see a question in the Q&A, but she raised her hand. Let's make her visual.
Should I stop my screen share or should I leave it up?
Why don't you stop it? That way we can have people ask questions, and if we can, we can.
What are we most proud of? I think like just the grit, which I know it's like not trendy to be like hustling because you do need to stop and rest and take care of yourself. But I think we have worked really hard.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of nights, like all night. Even last night, we were up to like 3:30. I texted my family this morning, and I was like, "Guys, I don't know if I'm gonna make it any sense when we get on this call." But
it's more that
it's just you pour yourself into it, and it's something we genuinely love. So like we don't mind doing it, but like it does take a lot out of you. But at the end of the day, like I think we're just most proud of like the process that we go through and the grind of it all, and then like we love what we do. I love it
when everyone's happy with the photos. Which,
yeah.
I don't know. That's like a nice feeling.
Yeah.
How did we decide to get into the industry? Oh, at OU, you're not, like we were in the School of Visual Communications, and you can't be undecided. So they were like, what do you like? And we're like, we like painting and drawing and, photography. And they're like, they looked at some of our stuff from high school and they're like, you're going to major in photography. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. It was actually supposed to be photojournalism. Yeah. And we were like, we're missing all these moments, and I don't want to go to war for anything. I don't like being in like the streets like that. It was like, so we switched it because commercially, it's more artistic.
More control.
You can like say, oh, can you do that again? Or, ooh, we should do this light. Or you can manipulate. You have control over the subject. Yeah.
So Katherine and Mariel, if you stop screen sharing, then we can see you bigger on.
Oh, sorry. Stop. I should have done that earlier. Can you see us now?
Yes.
Okay.
Should we just keep reading some of these questions?
Sure.
How do you choose themes when you're given creative freedom?
That's actually a good question because Tuesday, whatever day that was, Wednesday, that we had the shoot for ESPN, when they just said like, oh, we love prisms, they sent a few pictures of like people with like rainbows on their face, and they're like, but not this literal.
But also you kind of let the subject dictate the theme.
But when we got on set though, it was so hard because like we felt like pulled in all these different directions. We had gels and we could do long spoilers, so it was really hard to just hone in, but you really realize how much you're a product of like your time and your circumstance, and you kind of are like, oh, I only have time to do this, and this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So like you may have all these ideas, but in the reality, like
you can only
the circumstances are gonna limit like your actual creative process.
Yeah, so
which is good
we're not
because
really, we can be indecisive.
we can be so indecisive when it comes to creativity. Like we're just like,
we
can
want to do everything, but
Yes.
yeah, in reality you can't do that.
It's good when the circumstances actually make up our minds for us in that way.
Who have you photographed that you absolutely loved and who you thought you wouldn't like at first? I thought Whoopi was going to be scary.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Whoopi Goldberg, but I just feel like she could be one of those people that's like a hit or miss or something. Like if she's on a
catch her on a bad
day, but she was like so
gracious,
lovely and like
she gave us food,
kind.
she gave us books. She's like someone's grandmother. Like
yeah, she is a grandmother.
She is a grandmother. Yeah.
She was just, I mean, she's probably the nicest person we photographed.
Yes. Yeah.
I think so who would be a dream client to work with?
It's funny because when I started at iHeart, it was like a joke. Yeah, I said the minute I shoot Beyonce, I'm quitting because this job is too hard. Like my hours are bad. You know, it was all that. Like in the office, we were like, because you know, you get all the artists coming in, but like, who are you really excited to shoot? And I never shot Beyonce. She doesn't do press. She barely does anything. She doesn't have to. But now after all of it, Mary and I were like, I don't know if we want to. I don't
want to be disappointed. So like, I prefer to just stay Beyonce to me. Like. Yeah.
So what about your best memory at HB?
Oh,
I think it's from winning states. I mean, we were so heavily involved in soccer and that was like our
really
world.
Close.
Yeah, we had a really close team and we loved our coach and we spent so much time together.
I hope there's some, I should have told the old teammates to get on this. I should, whatever. But yeah, we're still close with them. I just think that was like a really, I mean, I always felt like an underdog kind of. So the fact that we won states was kind of like, sometimes you can win. Yeah, like it's like, I don't know, it felt like a big moment.
Yeah,
I love it. So we have a question from class of 2024, Bailey Hodge. How do you manage your time given that you always have so many opportunities and roles? And I guess I would add on to that, how do you choose what to do?
That's something we're figuring out. Like Catherine said, we were up till like 3:30 last night. But it's weird because it is hard. I learned this in school too. It's hard to know when you're done. It is like art.
Yeah.
It's like Mr. Morse. How do you know when your painting's done? Like I don't know sometimes when I could keep pushing a photo or. So yeah, a lot of late nights. I think it's something we're still trying to figure out.
So your sister, who for all of those out there is also an HB alum, says you don't.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. What she said we don't say no. Yeah, we don't.
We don't.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's true. We're working on it. We have an agent now who helps us.
Yes. Yeah.
He helps us. He helps guide us and say like, you don't have to do this, and you can tell them we need another day or whatever the case is. But no, Sarah's right. We don't. We're working on it.
We're the Perry kids. We're Paige and
Brooke. Our Brooke
should be asking questions.
Right. So you girls have been babysitters to many HB students. So a shout out from all of those who have been your charges. What about your future goals? What are you thinking of doing next?
I don't think we want to be boxed in to the photography world. Like we love photography and obviously it's something that we're constantly striving to be better at. But I think as creatives, both of us, like I want to do more and like just storytelling. And I know Mariel, I mean, she went to grad school for fashion accessory design. So in the footwear world, there's a whole nother like world out there.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun to do like footwear design, but like I thought about working for a bigger designer and like, I don't know, it really feels like you're just like handing over your stuff. Like, I don't know. It's something I want to explore, like maybe starting my own line or with help of Catherine, because I don't think it's something I want to do by myself.
Yeah, and just more video stuff too, I think.
Yeah, because she's good at video editing.
Everyone always asks if you can do both. And like, that's actually a good thing about can you tell people no? It's like, actually, no, I'm not a great videographer at this point in time.
You are, but it's hard to do both.
It's hard to do both. Yeah. Yeah. Like people specialize in one or the other, but
they can do both.
But you can't do both at the same time.
Yeah.
But
so, what are you most proud of so far in your life or your career? And do you have the same thing that you're proud of, or do you think differently about something?
I'm proud that Mara actually went to school.
Oh, that's nice, Catherine.
She talked about it for a really long time.
I did. It was
and
like
we were like,
an
are you
idea.
gonna leave? Are you gonna leave? Because she was, I mean, when you're stuck in New York, when you're in New York for like 7 or 8 years, you know, that's the time where people start to say, oh, I'm gonna leave, or stay. And she finally left and quit her job, so that was a big deal. And her stuff is amazing. Her shoes are amazing. So I'm a big fan.
I feel like you're gonna like the business side of this thing is not something that we think, but you do it and you're good at it.
I don't like it. So,
I'm proud of Catherine for handling the business things that I'm not as good at as her.
Well, I love the support.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for your HB sisters, both those who are currently in school who are watching, as well as alums who are here? And I must say that I forgot to say in the beginning, you two are the recipients of this year's Alumni Achievement Award. So congratulations.
thank you.
What advice do you have for everyone?
I want to say, like I think I said this in the interview when we did this talk with Lisa, but that quote, comparison is a thief of joy. Like constantly, I know it's so easy to do with like social media and like seeing how everyone else is like progressing faster than you or like just so successful, and you're like, why not me? It's like, don't do that. Like just keep going. Like, I don't know, it's important to take care of yourself and know what's important to you, and it's not about what other people are doing really, so don't focus on other people. I mean that in a good way. Like, don't be like, I'm not saying be a narcissist, but yeah.
I love it. Self-care, right?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are almost out of time, but any other final thoughts that you'd want to share? Oh, there's a question. Do you get back to Cleveland often, and what do you miss most about Cleveland? I know sometimes it might be hard to compare with New York and all these fabulous places, but what do you miss most?
We come back to Cleveland a lot.
Thanks to Sarah.
Yeah, we have a niece and nephew and our parents.
And our parents.
Yeah, everyone's there. So we go back a lot. We go back for birthdays and Christmas and stuff. Yeah, when we come back, we love going to Dracy's and Tommy's. Tommy's. What else do we love? Just hanging out. It's chill, you know. In the summer too, we can like go to a baseball game or just go downtown. So
it's much easier to be there than, like, I think if we could, I wish New York and Cleveland were like a lot closer. Like I wish it was in New Jersey or something, but it's very different. So I don't know. It's a nice break from the city.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. And again, congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
You have a chance to look at it and wear your HB gear proudly when you're in New York City. We have lots of alums in New York City, so it's great to see you there, and congratulations on all of your great work. We do encourage students and alums to visit hb.edu/alumni weekend, where you can find all of the alumni weekend events as well as a recording of the awards presentation. So they can check you out getting your awards, and you had some really great comments there. So thank you so much. Mrs. Ritzman, I'm going to turn it back over to you for some final comments as we close out our community time.
Thank you so much to the Tyler twins, as you are affectionately referred to still here by all of your former teachers and administrators. And I know I came at the very tail end of your time here at HB, but you know, we're so proud, of course, of all that you have achieved and who you were here at HB and everything that you have done since. And I know that everything that you shared here today, our students really enjoyed hearing about. So thank you for spending time with us here during our community time. And I know that the alums really enjoyed hearing from you as well. So thanks for taking time with us today. And students, thank you for being such gracious guests today during your last community time of the year here. So this was a great way to end, our weekly community times for the 2020-2021 school year. So this was the most excellent way for us to wrap up our community times this school year. So thank you so much, Tyler twins. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, we so appreciate it.
Yes. All right, everyone. Take care. Thanks, alums, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.